So just tell me, what happened? What happened to you and your business recently?
Okay, so obviously we'd worked together on the landing page, and I put that live, and it's literally within 2 weeks of it being live, I had so many consultations that I just felt like I almost had to pause it because I needed more space on my calendar to be able to fit them in. So it's amazing. Honestly, I couldn't expect it to go any better than it has. Almost to the point that it's overwhelming. So it is
That
definitely.
yeah, that's the dangerous bit. Now you have to work all of your time, cancel out all the holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
So I even looked at your Google Ads, the way you had set it up, and I had
Yeah.
like there's not much you need to do or do at all because
Okay.
I figured out what happened, why it worked so fast. Like even I was surprised for how fast that
Yeah.
picked up.
Yeah.
And you know why?
Why?
Because you have no competition.
Yeah. I think you're right, Sibby. When I've spoken to parents, I can hear the desperation in their voice
Mm,
that they've just not had someone to go to
yeah.
or to reach out to. So yeah, it's been amazing. And it just definitely, I didn't have any doubt when we did the niching session. I knew
Yeah.
when we did it. But if there was even like the tiniest bit of doubt, this bit has just reconfirmed that it's the right thing, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back in time and talk a bit about
Yeah.
yeah, the very first session when we found your niche, how you felt about actually because that's the tricky part where most people are like, once you have to choose and specialize
Mm-hmm.
and let go of everything else.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Um, I'd struggled with it, hence why
Mm-hmm.
I'd obviously found you and booked with you. I'd struggled back and forth with a few niches, and I suppose that common thought of, well, I don't just want to do one thing. I like to do lots of different things. But I did know that I needed to niche. I knew like the logic behind that. And when we did the session, if you'd have said to me straight away, this will be your niche, I'd have just looked at you like, why on earth would that be my niche? So going through that process of just working with you in that 2-hour session, and the questions you asked and how you led me to that point and that realization was just amazing. And I remember getting off the session just thinking, I don't know how you did that. But it felt just really congruent with me, and it was like, yeah, this is definitely the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not tell you what to do
You
ever,
didn't.
did I?
No, never told me what to do.
That's great. And
And I know the difference as well, because when I now talk about it, I've got no hesitation talking
mhm,
around it. Whereas when I was more, I suppose, generalist hypnotherapy, and people would ask me what I'd do, I'd struggle to kind of explain it really, other than just, oh, I'm a hypnotherapist.
yeah,
Where now I'm just like, really direct. I know what it is that I do with
yeah.
them and how I help them. So that's been really useful as well.
Yeah, I remember our branding session. Like when we had that, it was all also the same, and you were very straightforward. You're like, I like this, I don't like this, this is good, this, which is great
Yeah.
because we had such a progress. But it was the same, wasn't it? It was kind of,
Yeah,
I hope at least that it was your own creation.
definitely. I absolutely feel, I love it when I look at it. I absolutely love it. But again, not what I've initially thought in my head.
Yeah.
I had very bright colors in my mind about it. But then when we went through that process of, okay, what's the message we're trying to get
Mhm.
across? It then just become, actually, this needs to be very calming. It needs to feel secure. It needs to feel professional, but not unapproachable. And that's where I felt we definitely got to with it. So yeah, I love the branding as well. It's
Yay.
brilliant.
And how did you find the process? Because this one, I think, is what most people then struggle with. the process of actually writing the copy,
Yeah,
getting the text.
that was the hardest bit. But I think what was useful was just starting. I think once you've started, and then obviously I sent you that first initial draft and the stuff that you came back with, I was like, oh, of course. It's like you could see all the gaps that I had. And then that was easier to start to do. And then for me, because I almost need to see it rather than just have it on the paper. And then obviously you did the land and helped me with the landing page and set that up for me. I could then see, for some reason, I found it easier then to put the words to it. So I think once we got to that stage, it felt much easier for me.
Yeah, it's very abstract first. If you don't know the framework you're gonna work within. And that's also like, I hope it helped you where I have this landing page structure kind of set up.
Definitely helped.
That you follow.
Yeah, it did.
And because other than that, if you just have this, first of all, there's these two things. You could select a template, any template, and they have this given structure. And instead of having the one that you need logically for your clients to, to understand and follow and lead them, would be different from what somebody else set up, And what I find very difficult here is that most people, they would just try to make their own unique offer kind of fit this template.
Yes.
Instead of creating your own thing, because it's so hard to change it. And once you change it, it kind of doesn't look nice anymore.
Yeah, I definitely. And that was what obviously was super helpful working with you, because I would have just done that. I'd have just picked a template and filled in the gap almost.
Yeah, you were super brave, because you know how to work with Wix. That's what you were using, right?
Yeah.
And I told you before we started.
You did.
I told you. Yeah, I warned you. I was like, if you go into WordPress now, this is going to be overwhelming, as it's so different.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about making that switch now?
It definitely was overwhelming. Just because the set out and the layout of it is so different, and I was spending a bit of time hunting around things. But once you'd kind of shown me like how that works, the layout, where things are, I'm definitely getting more confident with it now. Yeah. There's obviously still things to learn as you go along, but I'm not as frightened to do it. I don't think I'm going to mess anything up, which is always what I'm a bit nervous about. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. I can see how much, how easier that's going to be in terms of SEO, especially the way it's set out and everything.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have far more options and functions that you can use with WordPress?
Exactly. Yes, I do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I must say I hate Wix. I always hate it. Don't ask me why I hate Wix. So I'm very happy that you did that move and that you trusted me with this, because obviously it's all new. And the good thing is, and this is also what a lot of people don't understand when they pick their niche, that you're not limited. You set something up and then it works. And then you just, especially with WordPress, you can copy that page, basically duplicate it. You have the whole process in place, and then adapt with the new copy and images for your new project, for the sub niche kind of. And I think, this is where I think if you plan on expanding, this is the better choice, which I think you do plan on expanding. Or are you already, maybe there's enough work volume at the moment?
Well, there's definitely enough work, but I can see already where it can go to. Just through, as I say, the consultations I'm having with clients, and the little nuances that they've got and how they want the program tailored to their teens' needs. And so I can see there being multiple programs in the end, if I survive that long.
Yeah, but it's
I think
crazy.
I'll need a team at this rate.
Yeah, it's probably how you want to expand, get a team on
Exactly.
board. But that's so beautiful because in such a short amount of time, you can actually also get all these insights from your clients
Oh,
that,
yeah.
you wouldn't have had prior.
Yeah. And I think what was really interesting, because when we did the copy and we talked about the niche, and that was based on clients I'd worked with, there was, there's still always that little bit of, was that just a small amount of clients? Was that just a few people?
Yeah.
And then obviously I know it definitely isn't just a few people. But the parents that I'm now speaking to, just the similarities and the language they use is like the language that I've put on the landing page. And I'm like, are they just saying that back to me because it's there? And then that's when I realized, no, it's because we've actually honed in exactly on the niche, and we're talking to somebody that's exactly their issue. So yeah, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, so let's talk about the numbers.
Okay. Oh God, I don't think I've got all my numbers ready.
Yeah, not the exact numbers, just
Okay.
like whatever comes up first. So when did you put that ad online? Was it the first or second week of November?
I think it was the second week of November.
Okay, that's like 2 to 3 weeks in, kind of 3 weeks around.
Yeah.
So like how long, like usually, the Google ads, I tell people that usually it can, depending on what kind of niche you have and what data Google has, it can take a while for the ad to even start showing.
Yeah.
But for you, that didn't take long at all?
No, I think it was about 2 days before I noticed it was like kind of approved, and then it got some traffic. And I'm pretty sure within like the 3rd day I'd got a consultation already. That first week I definitely got consultations, and I think at the moment I need to do another count because I'm losing count with it, but I'd say I've got at least about 20 at the moment. Some of those have been direct through the ad, some have been through the contact me on the website. So they've gone through, they've emailed to ask a question, and then I've gone back with the booking link, and then they've booked the consultation. So yeah.
So what do you think would happen if you would double your budget? How much do you even spend so far on the ad?
I think my budget at the moment is about £7 a day.
Okay, that's like nothing. And I even checked like how much per keyword, how much you were paying per conversion.
Yeah.
And it like like £3 to £5, or
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's like, I was like, right.
I know.
I think you're gonna be rich soon.
It's madness.
If you keep up the budget.
If I compared that to what I was doing when I was doing general kinds of hypnotherapy, it was working out around about anywhere between £25 to £35 per conversion.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
Now I'm like below £10 conversion. I was like, wow, it's crazy.
That is. Yeah, I don't know who gets like these results are really outstanding, one must say, right? But again, I think this is really because your niche is so unique.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Well, that's it. I'm not getting people like you might do with general hypnotherapy. If you haven't niched, you might get people who'll say, oh, well, I'm just making inquiries, or, and you can tell they're going to ring around lots of different people.
Yeah.
I know now when I've got them on the phone, they're like, just get me booked in. When can you see us? When's the quickest? They're just straight to it. I don't have to do a lot of explaining like I did around, well, what hypnotherapy is, all this stuff. Don't have to do that. They just know. It's like, you've told me you can deal with the issue that we're facing. So let's just do it. So that's amazing. If anything, it's more me that's pushing back on them to make sure that it's definitely right for their team. Which, so it's weird. It's just strange.
Yeah, it's because usually, as a hypnotherapist, you always end up explaining about hypnotherapy, and here they are not worried one bit. They just
no, haven't even had to explain it at all. It's like, hooray.
But they're probably, because for them it's such an urgent issue that they probably really, I mean, you've seen the screen recordings, that's what you've been doing, right? Record the screens.
Yes.
I think they are really reading, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can see that you can see the patterns of where they're going to.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're checking, because they don't seem to spend a long time on it. So I think it's almost like, I know the issue, I'm just going to check, is this the symptoms? Is this what she can help with? That kind of thing. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you had a little extra bonus, which we decided short term because it was focused on the consultations first.
Yes.
But then we put in the newsletter as well, just to make sure.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
Great. I've got around about well, mine's just come back. I think I've got about 16 sign-ups so far, which again is great because it's not been live or on kind of active for long. And it is now just the pressure of having to write the newsletters.
Yes, but it is so great because usually but this is like we really got great results here, because usually I would suggest someone focuses only on one goal per landing page.
Yeah.
Which we had, which was the consultation. And then last minute I was like, but wait, because this is already so the whole page, landing page, I would think it's very educating.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was like, if parents want to learn more and they're desperate to help, so let's just try and see what happens. So I was very excited to see that it actually, though it wasn't optimized, we didn't build it for that purpose.
Yeah.
It's still worked.
Still useful, definitely.
Yeah, and you can reach them later again. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah. And even the contact form, because I think previously I did have one on like my other site, and in the end I took it off because all I would get would be, well, basically spam or really poor inquiries.
Yeah.
Even the queries that are coming through the contact form aren't kind of, oh, well, what's the program about, or what's this, because that's all there. They just say the one thing which isn't on the landing page, which is the cost, and that's what they're asking, and then they're kind of, I'm telling them that, and then they're booking in. So it's not even, I was a little bit like, do I really want to contact me on, because I'm going to get loads of rubbish through, but I haven't at all so far, touch wood. So that's been really good as well.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely crazy. And there's another thing that I usually, well, in this case, worked out perfectly well. But obviously, I mean, we talked about this. I told you from the very start, I'm no fan of free consultations.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. And I was worried that, because they get a chance to speak to a professional for free, that, that might be a bit, I don't know if it was a good idea or not. And, but with this niche, it works out perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, they need to be able to feel reassured that I'm the right person for their team. And also that I need to make sure that they're the right fit for the program as well.
And how does it like having all these consultations booked in, because it's been plenty, how do you feel about doing them? Is it, the time that you invest and what you get out, as in who books then, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I enjoy them, so it's good. I would say out of the ones that I've had so far, there's probably only been one that I've kind of thought, this isn't the right person.
Yeah.
You can tell pretty much quite quickly.
Yeah, that's
that's
amazing. That's like, I mean, was that out of everybody 0.5% or something? Not even one.
It is crazy. And from the ones that I've had, other than that one, I've got a couple that I've sent the links to book, and I just haven't had that through yet. But I've already booked probably about 80-90% of the ones that have spoken with are already booked for January.
Yeah.
So my first week in January, well, my month, because it's almost like a month's thing.
Yeah.
I've probably got about 50% of that already booked.
Wow.
And I've still got the rest of the next couple of weeks to do all these consultation calls, so I can see, which is why I paused the ad yesterday, because I can actually see that I'll get January booked up within the next week.
Yeah.
And then I'll be moving into February, and I don't want people to wait too long. So I'm going to.
Yeah. Though you might want to do that. It's not so bad, because people, if they really want something, you know, like it's okay for them to wait 3 months if they have to. And if they know they get the, you know, the spot after, not like, you know, if they're not put on a waiting list to wait forever.
Yeah, they've definitely got an appointment. It's
Yeah,
just going to be,
yeah. So I think you can actually risk that and plan 3 months ahead. I think 3 months, that's kind of the threshold. That's all right.
Yeah.
To book yourself out
that
for 3 months. I'm sorry you're going to be working so much.
Well, it's definitely made me realize I need to be more organized. So I think one of the things I've realized as well is that at the moment, it was the way my calendar was set up. They could pick where I've got gaps, and mainly I've got gaps when I'm in between clients.
Yeah.
But now I've just set it up so that actually I just have like a morning where I'm just doing consultation calls, and then an evening when I'm just doing consultation calls.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my head's in and out of different things.
Yeah.
And it's better to do them all kind of in one period, and then I'm very focused on that. But having the systems and, you know, having everything there set up, it's easy to do.
Yeah. And how do you feel about the show up rate? If they book in for a certain time, are they good following up, sticking to that time?
Yeah, I've had one who didn't, who then I text messaged, and she then rebooked for another time, but she didn't attend that one either.
Okay.
But other than that,
that was the 0.5% that didn't work out.
No, actually, there was two, because there was that one, and then there was the other one I did speak to. But,
so we have 0.5% who wasn't a fit, and we have another 0.5% who didn't show up.
Yeah.
So that's like a rate of 1%, basically, that is no good. But the rest,
absolutely fine.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And because I know that you created this, you know, after we did the, I think, was it the landing page session? Like, this is what I find so beautiful too. You just took everything you learned, and before we even worked on our, like, before we had this niche done, you just went ahead and just tried it.
Yeah, I did. Well, I think once I realized it was definitely teenagers I wanted to work with.
Yeah.
And children. Oh, sorry. Headphones annoying. Sorry, it's popped out. Yeah, once I'd realized it was definitely children and teenagers, I just thought, well, I can just throw something up quickly just to see what comes through that. I didn't spend a huge amount of time on it, but obviously I followed some of the stuff that we'd already talked through. So my ideal would be eventually to have that site on WordPress, and it being a lot more professional than it is now, and to just get rid of the one I've got for adults.
How do you?
I'm not gonna have time to do it. There's only one of me at the moment, so
I think one step at a time. Yeah. But just like I mean, I think that's amazing, you know, when you just take what you learned and you go ahead, and even because obviously what we worked on took a while to build.
Yeah.
As in, you know, to get it in a way that you're happy with it. And I think we're two perfectionists here at some level. So it couldn't go live, you know, without everything fine-tuned. But I do love the comparison that we have now, because you have two projects, or two, where you built one yourself just out of what you've learned, but you did go for hypnotherapy or hypnosis as a term, basically. So it wasn't really a niche, more kind of niche down on what kind of people you want to work with. And then you have this other project, which is literally the problem that you're going to solve. How do you feel if you compare both?
Oh, definitely the problem one is the better one. Absolutely, without a doubt. And I think the other one is almost like what would be suppose the umbrella, as I imagine it eventually. That will be kind of the umbrella for all the programs.
Yeah.
But then the pages, the landing pages would be the separate individual niched ones.
Yeah.
But you know, at some point in the future.
Yeah. So you do not feel limited by your niche?
No, not at all. And honestly, I didn't think I would say that. I didn't think, because that was obviously, and I know that's a lot with a lot of people, the worry of, oh gosh, well, am I just going to get bored doing that? But I can actually see so much to do with it, and how, you know, how much is possible with that one niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
That in itself is a massive potential business going forward. Really is.
That is true.
Because you can take that niche and you can work directly with the teens, or you can work with the parents, or you can work with the schools. So I've already got different pots of clients who have potentials to work with.
Yeah, then now that's amazing. You have so much choice, and we will gonna talk about that now, of how we're gonna expand. So thank you for your feedback for now.
Thank you.
And yeah, let's talk about how we're gonna expand.
Okay.
And I'm gonna close the recording though, because this is just for us two.
Thank you.